Got cussed out while loading groceries into my trunk.
So, there were about 3 carts in a parking space across from where I parked in the Walmart parking lot, and I was loading my groceries in the trunk. Lady goes to pull into the space with 3 carts and stops, honks. Waits. Honks again, then gets out and shouts at me, "Why won't you just do your effing job? Get these carts out of the way." As she's moving them violently. I tell her I don't work here. She replied, "Couldn't tell, how the hell should I know that? You should have done it anyway." I reply, "You should pucker up on my puckered parts, 'cause I don't work here and I didn't put the carts there. Find another spot instead of cursing out a stranger." She replied, "I'm going to talk to management." I replied, "Be my guest." Have never laughed harder than when I drove past the entrance to see the woman standing there with someone who appeared to be a manager, pointing angrily at me.
No, my old manager can't order me around either.
First off, to be fair, I used to work at the place this happened. I used to work as a pickup clerk at a nearby Giant, but I stopped working there about a year ago. But because of my job, I basically have the entire store memorized, and can quickly point out what row something should be in if I was asked. That, plus the fact that I sometimes chat with my old coworkers, could make someone assume I still worked there. Anyways, I was there yesterday, looking for ingredients I was missing for dinner. But while I was looking, someone walked up to me. She was about the same age as me, and had the same vibe of "I need to find something, but I'm too anxious to just ask an employee around her that I usually have." She got my attention, then politely asked where something in another aisle was. I pointed it out to her, she thanked me and went on her way, and I went back to looking for my ingredients. About a minute later, someone else came up to me and got my attention. But before I could even say yes, they started talking. Let's just call her Karen for now. "Karen, I need to get whatever it was she needed." Me, "Oh, that's the aisle number, whatever it was." "Karen, I already checked there, and they were all out." Me, "Oh. Well, sorry about that. Maybe they'll have some more later." I then turned to go back to my shopping when she said the next magic words. "Karen, can't you just go to the back and check?" Of course, I was pretty confused at that, and turned to look at her. Me, "No. I don't work here." Karen, immediately starting to get annoyed, "Yes you do. I've seen you around here before. And you just finished helping that other girl." Me, "Well, I used to work here, so I know where stuff is. But I quit like a year ago." Karen, "Don't give me that. Why else would you be here all of the time?" Me, "Yeah, because I shop here." Karen started to look genuinely pissed when I said that for some reason, and I decided then was a perfect time to leave and avoid getting yelled at. I continued getting what I needed, constantly checking over my shoulder to make sure I wasn't being followed and probably looking incredibly suspicious. I finally got everything I needed and made a beeline towards the self-checkout area. Now, I should note that the self-checkout space is directly across from the customer service area, where you can look up and look directly at the self-checkout. I say that because when I finished bagging my stuff, I looked up to see the Karen from before talking to my old manager at the customer service desk. I should also note that my old manager is a large chunk of why I decided to quit. Mostly because she is a controlling asshole that constantly breathes down other people's throats instead of doing any actual work. Surprisingly, she was doing her job for once, and nodded along while Karen angrily ranted at her. I decided to ignore the two and started to head towards the exit, but of course, that was the exact moment Karen decided to look over and spot me trying to leave. She pointed at me and yelled her. "That girl right there." Of course, everyone stopped and started to stare at me, which would have made just leaving a lot more awkward, so I stopped in my tracks. My old manager leaned over the counter to look at me, made a confused face, then turned to the lady. "Manager, sorry ma'am, but she doesn't work here anymore." Apparently, being proven wrong by the manager Karen's tipping point, because she suddenly started to scream at my old manager. "Karen, you're the manager. She's an employee. Tell her to help me now." Surprisingly, my old manager gathered up the gall to actually turn to me again at that. Manager, RVOs, do you mind helping her? At this point, I was genuinely shocked at her question. I knew she would do anything for a customer at her employee's expense, but I didn't think it would extend to people that didn't even work for her. Me. Are you going to pay me? Manager, no, but dash. Me, then yes, I do mind. See ya. And before either of them could say anything, I walked out of the store. I heard Karen start yelling again, but I couldn't properly catch what she was saying before I fully exited the store and headed towards my car. Yeah, not exactly an exciting ending, sorry. I'm just still reeling at both how furious that lady got when I said I didn't work here anymore, and the gall of my old manager to attempt to order me around after I haven't worked for her in literally a year. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Of course you effing work here. Why else would you be dressed like that?
So this was back in August. I just moved to the city and had just started working at a bank. I didn't have the company apparel yet but had a good amount of business clothes, plus I like dressing nice. I was done early that day and downtown was on the train ride home. I figured I'd stop to do some clothes shopping. I was shopping around the store in the business attire section. In my business attire, one could guess why there would be confusion, and this lady, who only spoke Spanish, asked if I spoke Spanish and if I could help her. I said yes and asked what she needed. Spanish lady, ¿sabes dónde están las maletas? Do you know where the suitcases are? Perdón señora, yo no trabajo aquí, pero creo que están en el primer piso. Sorry ma'am, I don't work here but I think they're on the first floor. We both laughed and she commented on how nice my clothes looked. It made me blush a little bit. I'm self-conscious, then she thanked me for helping her. 20 effing seconds later. Another lady comes up to me in a not-so-nice way demanding I get her another coat with matching pants in such size, asking why we had suits mixed up, and specifically to get her an effing dressing room since she had no idea why we only had 2 open in the middle of the pandemic. I explained to her that, 1, we're in a pandemic, 2, I don't know shite about suits, I just wear them, 3, I don't effing work here. Mean lady, of course you effing work here, why else would you be dressed like that? Because I like dressing nice, and frankly it's none of your business. ML, well I saw you helping the other lady. Stop lying. Because she was nice, maybe you should try it every once in a while. At this point, one of the actual workers saw what was going on and intervened. We both happened to be in the changing room, different stalls, and she started going off on the phone about how a rude employee refused to help her. When I was done trying on new suits, I went with black this time. She was talking to the manager about me, and exclaimed that short one. When I walked by, the manager was like, "Who TF is that dude?" I just laughed and paid for my clothes. Moral of the story, don't be a Richard and someone might help you, even if they don't work there.
A small look at why Karen acts like that.
I work with a Karen, though not in retail. Recently, this Karen was regaling some coworkers with a story about some hell she raised at a store, and she was quite proud of herself for being rude to the store employee. At the end of the story she tagged on a coda to justify her obnoxious behavior. Her logic? You have to stand up to them, and you have to push back on them, because it will make the shopping experience better for everyone else that comes after you. Karens believe that they are training retail big box store employees as though they were puppies by screaming, throwing tantrums, and humiliating people. Dude, they're not applying any lessons they've learned from you acting like an overgrown baby with a hideously dated Kate and her 8 haircut. They're posting about your pants wetting meltdown on Reddit.
Where is your lanyard?
I went to this technology store in a mall. The workers in this store do not have a uniform. They have to keep up a fairly good appearance, clean shoes, no profanity on such shirts and just be presentable but otherwise just have a casual attire. The one thing to distinguish that they work there are these bright, yellow, neon lanyards. If you live in NZ or Australia, you probably know the place I'm talking about. I went into the store by myself to look at the headphones, listen to the music playing on them to see if they're a good fit and how they sound, then delicately put them back. I'm wearing a grey shirt and black pants, which just so happens to be the attire of someone else who's working currently, but I didn't know this till later. I'm approached by this larger woman who gave me a stern look. I thought maybe she just wanted to test the headphones too and move to another shelf. Excuse me. I didn't know she was talking to me, so I kept looking at the current shelf till I get 2 hard taps on my shoulder.
The mom of our adopted family's #1 request was a new set of cookware. I spent the past week researching and checking Black Friday deals and found a great deal. Only problem is that it is an in-store only purchase, available until 5 p.m. I figure I would go in the afternoon, shouldn't be too bad. And it almost wasn't. Store had calmed down and employees seemed to be in good spirits. I asked an employee if any of the cookware sets were left and he said they had a few and pointed them out to me. He also told me to come right back to his cash wrap after I grabbed one because he just emptied one of those little carts they have. The box the cookware is packaged in is kind of a big awkward box, and I can use the cart to get the box to my car. I grab the box and head to the cash wrap, and yes, the box is big and I can barely wrap my arms around it. I take a few steps. This lady walks up and starts to pull the box out of my arms. I ask her what she's doing and she says she wants the cookware set. I tell her there are more over there, jerking my head in that general direction. She tells me she will just take this one. I say no, this is mine, go get your own. She says but I want it. I tell her to go get one. She tells me I am being rude and she will tell my boss. I tell her she is going to tell my boss I was shopping on Black Friday, kinda should be expected. I pivoted a little get around her to get to the cash wrap where the gentleman asked me if I found it okay and pushed the cart up to me. The lady says wait. I saw you two talking earlier, you work here. I told her I do not work here and I was just asking someone who works here for help. You know. Normal interaction when shopping. She just stares as I pay and thank the gentleman who helped me. She never said anything else. I think she might still be there.
I'm not Jake from State Farm.
When my husband and I first moved in together, we were renting a house that had been a State Farm insurance office. It was an old house that had been converted to an office then back to a house. The landlord also ran a used car lot and the office for it on the back porch. Numerous times I'd be in bed asleep. I was working third shift at the time, and people would just walk in wanting to talk to the insurance guy or ask about a car. People still came in. One guy even said, "Hey, the doors are stuck," as I was walking in. Then he saw me and asked about insurance. I was in my PJs watching a movie. It must have been a casual Friday, I guess. So he had forced the doors open. I've never been that greatly in need of insurance to break into a building for it, lol. I finally talked to my cousin. She had dated the insurance guy's son, and I guess they finally sent out a notice to their customers of the address change.
I'm just here to play drums.
So I'm a musician. I was playing a gig at a bar. It's a casual bar in a city, so I was dressed to look good, but I wasn't wearing a tie or anything. It's casual. A friend of mine showed up and during the set break we both went outside to smoke and were standing to the side of the entrance. We're hanging out, chatting, and then this group shows up and I make eye contact with the woman leading them. She's walking toward me and pulls her wallet out, then hands me her ID. My friend and I glance at each other and back to her. "I don't know about this, miss, this looks like a fake to me." She's completely dismayed. "No. I swear it's real, it's just a really old picture and I wasn't having a good day that day." Takes the heaviest sigh. "I swear it's real." My friend and I glance back at each other. We give each other a nod in agreement. So I turn back to her while all her friends are uncertain if their night's plans are about to change. "I'm just here to play drums, but thanks for sharing this with me." Reads her name on ID, Jane Smith. Then I proceed to give her the ID. She asked so I could